And aloha. Welcome to Talk Story, the longest running talk show on Maui, 26 years and going strong. And I'm very excited about today's show because I get to talk to some key people with Maui no Kaoi magazine. And I'm also going to be talking to Barry Rivers, who'll be calling in from California. He's winding up some of the details for First Light, and we'll be talking about the First Light screening starting on Thursday, January 17th. And in the studio with me right now is Lahia Apana. Aloha, Lahia.
Aloha.
And I do believe that Diane's on her way and stuck in traffic, but will be arriving soon, right?
Yes.
And I did want to mention this is a special year for Maui no Kaoi magazine. 20th anniversary is a big one.
Mm-hmm. It is, and it's funny, sometimes we get people asking how long we've been around, and when you tell them 20 years, they really can't believe it. And I've only been there for a little over 3 years, so when Diane comes, she can tell you a little bit more about our earliest days and our evolution and sort of how we got to be the magazine that we are now. But yes, so this year we celebrated 20 years, and all of our issues, we've sort of been honoring that special anniversary with a few special sections. So yeah, it's really exciting, and it's actually kind of sad to have it coming to a close. So we're ready to celebrate our 21st, which can also be a pretty fun year.
Oh yeah, because then you can actually go out and drink.
Yeah. Cause all kinds of trouble.
Yeah. So no, with the 20th, it is beautiful, and this one, the latest issue, maybe people have already seen it. I know I was over at a Made in Maui, and you had a table, not you personally, but Maui no Kaoi had a table right next to us, and a lot of people got to pick up the best of Maui. Plus, it was in the bag actually as well. The first 2,000 people got tote bags,
Right.
and Maui no Kaoi was in there. And at first, I just have to mention what a beautiful magazine it is. I think the biggest problem with this magazine is it can really sit on your coffee table for too long. And, you never know when you really want to ever throw it out, because you see all the glossy pictures and the nice things in the stories. You're going, well, this one's 2 years old. I think you have to have a time limit on how long you can keep them. But I think maybe after a year, you have to recycle or something.
Right. Well, actually, I've heard stories about magazines that get legs and people kind of swipe them from each other. So we like to hear that too.
Well, I've even thought about this because I have some nice, expensive magazines I keep, but then I hate to throw them out because they're so nice. Because you see on the nice magazines great pictures and great stories. So I like to see if I can give them to the YMCA or if the hospital will take them, or maybe the waiting rooms. It's always nice to have in the waiting rooms. But in this particular one, the best of, really amazing stories in here, with great writers and wonderful photographers as well. 100 Years of Majesty, Haleakala National Park, 20 great gift ideas, 20 reasons locals love Maui, and a lot more. But you pointed out to me something we were talking about right before we went on there. Hey, Diane's here. Hello. Diane Washburn Haynes made it. Join us and have a seat, Diane. Great to see you. You sit over here so I can do this. And now I can go Facebook Live. I was kind of waiting for your appearance too.
I should have put makeup on.
I know. Isn't it terrible? Facebook Live can do that. I had this happen yesterday when I was doing a Facebook Live, and the person was like, "Wait a second, you didn't say you were going to do Facebook Live. I would have put makeup on. Radio, you don't usually think you have to deal with
radio.
it."
I don't have to.
I'm going to say
No,
Maui.
these days you can be filmed anywhere.
That is
anytime,
true.
So.
That is true. Even taking your trash out,
Yes.
I put lipstick on. That counts.
Oh, well, that does. I didn't, so I can hold the thing.
Yeah, well, you're not pointing it at yourself.
That is true. That is very, and for good reason. Anyway, I was just giving people a little bit of background and how nice it was to see you at Maui, and maybe you were listening in your car. How nice it was to see you at the Made in Maui, and how lovely it was. So if you want to join us, I'm on Facebook Live now under Cindy Paulos, and we'll share this later. And we got Diane Haynes here, and we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Maui no Kaoi magazine.
Yay.
Yay. And so, this is really a nice event for you. And I have to say, we need something like special events to kind of bring ourselves up to that special reason, do a little bit more. I don't think people realize the amount of work that can go into something like creating even one magazine. And
Yeah.
I was just telling Lahia how beautiful the magazine is.
Thank you.
And I really don't want to throw them out. I mean, the layouts, the stories are really excellent and something that is worthy of keeping, but you can only keep them for so long.
Well, you can recycle. Maybe take them to friends of the library,
That's
or,
what I
exactly
just
what
or
she
take
was
them to the
saying.
hospital,
That's what I was
or
thinking, yeah.
places where people would be happy to. I think actually Kaunoa or some of the senior citizens places be a good place to recycle magazines, particularly Maui no Kaoi.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? I have to say, I was talking with Lahia just before you came in about the history on the back. I think Gail Ainsworth did this story on the back of the magazine, What's in a Name? And you know, we're Kaoi Radio, and Kaoi FM has been around for 40 years, and I never knew I haven't been here 40 years, 26 years, I never knew about the real origins of no Kaoi. There's a story about it you share, which is just a really wonderful story, and I thought maybe you could explain a little bit about, because it gives us an insight into a term we very, very frequently use, and it involves a lot of history.
I'm going to let Lahia do that because I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, okay.
Gail Ainsworth, a local historian here on Maui, she was the person who actually brought this idea to us. It wasn't even on our radar, and she said, "Did you know the history behind your own name?" And we said, "No, tell us." So it was really nice of her to, first of all, bring this story to us. But
I'll hold this story up for Facebook Live. So
Yeah, we used to rely on Gail a lot in the old days, just to throw that out there. She's been a great friend of ours for many, many years as a historian. But go ahead, Leah.
Well, actually, the history has to do with Ka'ahumanu Church right here in Wailuku. And the Reverend there, he used to compose songs and put Maui no Kaoi, put that phrase into his songs, and people just sort of loved it and ran with it. And so it became, synonymous with Maui. It's almost like a part of Maui's name now. It's Maui no Kaoi. So that's kind of really where it became popularized, and people started repeating it. So
and
that's.
I guess it says, I should be on the microphone. Kapu says here that the song Ku'u Home o Maui says, "Oh, the love I feel," and then at the end he has Ku'u Home o Maui no Kaoi, and he repeats that. And Maui no Kaoi resonated with the island's people. Subsequent songwriters seems to have had near obsession with the phrase, incorporating it into boosting songs and also praising Haleakala and the Rosalani Maui's flowers. So that
Right,
I
kind of
find
show off songs, kind
Yeah.
of songs to make you feel proud about being from Maui or living on Maui.
Of course, our name is Kaoi because you have to have the call letter K here on this side of the world, other side of Mississippi's W, but we're K, so we don't have no. You can only allow so much. It's just Kaoi seem to be right, so we've always gone with Kaoi. But so it's kind of nice to know that there's a history there that's so beautiful.
And it just matches perfectly. I mean, because that's what we try and do. We try and celebrate the best parts about Maui. Not only saying Maui's so great, but giving you reasons why we think it's pretty great, and sort of diving into those stories to sort of back up our claim that Maui is no Kaoi.
Well, and again, I know a lot of people, and I don't know how many people really may have known that story. So I guess, Diane, there's a bit of a history. People want information. They want to be inspired.
I believe that too.
It's your 20th anniversary. You want to do something special. So maybe you can give us a little background when you go into trying to put together a magazine. There's a lot to celebrate on the islands. What do you go about when you're trying to do something special for a magazine like the 20th anniversary best of?
Well, I think actually every issue we do is special. When we began the magazine over 20 years ago, we wanted to bring a magazine to Maui that we could be proud of, that residents could be proud of, but that would also be interesting and uplifting to visitors. So Maui no Kaoi was never a magazine that was going to play down or make people feel like they were less than they are. It was always a magazine to bring it, to elevate, and inspire and give information. We try not to judge. We bring issues to the magazine, but we'll show both sides, and that's always a challenge because our writers often have opinions. But we try very hard to show both sides of every story. So if it's an issue, we want people to be able to make their own decisions, and that's always been very important. And I think what I'm most proud of in the magazine, besides the most brilliant staff on the island, I think is our cultural stories, which is always a part of the magazine too. And, when we started 20 years ago, not very many people were doing really authentic cultural stories. And we wanted to make sure that those stories were correct. So we have a very dedicated and wonderful board of cultural advisors who look at what we write and make sure that it is Pono or it is right. So we're proud of those stories, and we want the culture of Hawaii to move forward and to be remembered. So we try to make stories that connect the past to today, rather than just tell stories that happened long ago, but there's no way you can connect to them. We try to make those stories have a connection with today's life.
A bridge, and also, that bridge is important. We're getting a lot of people watching Facebook online, and a couple of people have asked about wanting more information. And if you are online, I know one person asked, is it online?
Yes.
And it is online.
MauiMagazine.net.
That's a good one. MauiMagazine.net is
.net.
online, because we have people watching from South Carolina, Los Angeles, and all around. So it gives them a chance to really see this beauty of this island.
Yeah, it's actually a really wonderful site. I think and we're very proud of it. We work hard on it. Lehia does a lot of content. We have a lot of original content on the site. So, we invite you to go and check it out.
Yeah.
Well, I have to ask you, because we all know the challenges of print, and we also know that you have to do almost everything online. You can't just do anything, like we're streaming worldwide right now as well. So you have to be able to be very diversified as far as reaching a lot of social media outlets. And of course, that's a whole job unto itself. But at the same time, a lot of people, and you being 20 years in the business, know that some magazines that are great have gone under.
Yes.
It's expensive doing a magazine. So at the lifeblood, this is, I can't even imagine what your magazines, I have to show it, what the magazines cost here, because, we're seeing lots of beautiful stories and a lot of work and research, and lovely, lovely pictures. This is about this story here is about the Maliko Retreat Center here. So I can't even imagine what a magazine like this, each issue costs. So obviously,
quite a bit.
and printing is expensive. So can you tell us a little about the guts and of how you do this and how it happens?
Well, we have a tremendous staff, so it's a process to make it happen. And I think that's what's so fun about a magazine is that it's like a little world unto itself. We have everything. There's a creative side. There's a business side. There's sometimes conversations and opinions, so we might not always agree. It's like a little world, and we go through each issue by planning ahead. Editorial staff will plan stories, but we all meet together. So the whole staff will meet to discuss, well, where do we want to go with editorial? What's our objective? What kind of stories do we want to tell? Are we telling them well enough? Are we telling enough stories, and are they going in the right direction? Do we want more culture, or do we want more music? Do we want more pithy stories? Are we telling the stories that our audience wants to read? And that's always the challenge, and it's a very exciting thing to do. So our editorial staff, of course, is challenged to come up with those stories, even though the rest of the staff chimes in. And then it's up to the sales staff to make sure we have enough money to write them and show them.
Well, I know we're kind of a small business as well here at the radio station. And we have to, I wear many hats. I do all these radio shows, and I have I'm on 3 different stations. But I do sales as well. And when you're a mom and pop kind of operation and a small business, you have to do a lot. I prefer it that way myself, although it's a lot of work. I can't imagine being corporate myself. I mean, I don't think I could fit into a mold with someone really telling me exactly the way it had to be done without any contact with people and the outside. And in a way, I think that's good because when you are small, even though it's a lot more work, you can really see the results and you know the results and you can have your hands on. Lahia's there nodding.
Yes, absolutely.
You get the feedback, right? Do you find out, Lahia, as managing editor, what stories people want and like the most?
Well, actually, because you mentioned our online presence, it's really easy to see online. We can look at the analytics, and so that's really nice. You can see what people are clicking on, how long they're staying to read it. So that's been really helpful. We get a lot of, I mean, Maui is a small community. We come to our meetings and people are always saying, well, I ran into so-and-so here and they told me this. So, I mean, we're always getting feedback. We love feedback and we're always sort of seeking out ways that we can be better because you don't last 20 years, by doing the same thing. So, we absolutely love feedback. I mean, that's definitely part of our process. And in fact, every year we have this big visioning meeting with the entire staff to look at what we've done and look at how we can improve and move forward. So the feedback is really important for those meetings.
I know, Diane, that this is what you call a very nice, high-quality, sophisticated, glossy magazine. And it seems when I think of what magazines are surviving and which aren't, the ones like the one you have created seem to be surviving more because it seems like a longer life, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I know when I first started the magazine back in the old days, people would say, oh, newspapers are the valuable commodity and regional magazines are kind of just the frosting and good luck. So I thought, okay, we can do this. So we purged ahead with Maui no Kaoi, and pretty soon we found out that with all of the new technology and online that, as you know, newspapers and news magazines really took a hit, big hit, and a lot of them went under. And a lot of other magazines went under too. It was very, very difficult. We were very blessed or lucky or in the right place, the right niche. Maui no Kaoi survived during those really, really rough years, and it continues to flourish. In fact, our sales and distribution is growing. So we came out of a very deep depression with the rest of the world, but it continues to grow. So we're really happy. And I think what Lahia said is part of that, in that we don't think that we're okay the way we are. We know that we have to change, and we have to look at what the world is doing and what our readers want, and we have to make sure that we're not only being an authentic voice for Maui, but that we're also going after the stories that people want to read. And that's why Lahia's here, because she's way younger than I am, and she knows what's happening.
Quite a few people on Facebook, but Paul asked, what have you learned the most over the years? Thank you for the question, Paul.
Good question.
You want to go? I'll let Diane go.
Here all those years.
I think the best lesson I learned was it's so much easier to give than it is to complain. And so a long time ago, we made sure that we put programs in place where Maui no Kaoi could give back to our community. And I think out of all the things we do, that privilege makes me the happiest.
That is, and that's something, a standard that a lot of people can learn from, the giving and receiving. And I think you're being out there a lot with the awards ceremonies that you do as well. Mm-hmm. You've been really connected to the community, which is really important. And just the way you said you have to bridge what the community wants and bridge over the years what may be the trends to here to what was then. And a lot of that is the basis of communication, I think. And I was I was talking to Lahia before we got on about the different forms of communication. I think print communication is a different medium. I've worked in radio forever. I mean, 40 years at least.
And you're very good at it.
But that's all right. But I do. And I've done TV. I don't know if I could do print. There's so much detail. There's so much work and layout. I have to say your layout, and I think that's John is his name.
John, yes. John Giordani
does
He's fabulous.
A
Fabulous.
beautiful job. Yes. And that's important because I don't know if you could actually maintain the high-end sponsors you had if you didn't have a really lovely and nicely done and sophisticated product.
No, it's as we're saying, it's the whole little world. We've got so many components that make up the magazine, and having John's not only a talented designer, he's a good business person. He's sort of a rock at our company. He's always calm. He makes good decisions. He helps bring us together. So I think what's important too in a company is the people. And that's another thing I learned is that if everybody isn't pulling together, if you're not all in the same boat paddling as one, you really can't go forward. And so we're lucky to have a staff that really cares about each other.
I'm showing people a little bit of the magazine on Facebook Live here. And you did a story here, which is always nice. It's just the top 10 things, was it? The top 10 things?
I think there's
the Shaka
20.
list.
20
Is it 20? The
things,
Shaka
yeah,
list,
the Shaka
2016.
list. It's an annual feature that we do, and Shannon Wanecki, one of our regular writers, she's kind of in charge of the Shaka list, and she comes up with what's great about Maui. You know, what is Maui na Kaoi? You know, it goes back to that, and what we're proud of. So some examples in this year's Shaka list, the 3 different flavors of beaches that we have here. You know, you have the red sand, you have the black sand.
Oh, let me find the picture. And this is interesting because I
There
hadn't
you
really
go.
thought of that, although I knew it, but I'd never thought of them as flavors.
Well,
I like that. The red sand, the golden sand,
yeah,
and the black sand, you know, beach. And it is different. Each one has a different feel.
yes.
As you walk on the sand, the different sands. We don't have that many red sands here.
No.
Out in Hana is the famous red sand, but it's a little dangerous getting there, so some people don't get there too easily.
And I think that what's fun about this is we do it every year. So Shannon's always challenged to find new things. Sometimes we bring back the old things, but it's so every year there's new exciting things to discover. And, you know, some of them might be as small as one year we did the smiley face spider. You know, it's things that only people that live here would know about that are wonderful. And I think this year one of our features was Merwin.
What a master! What a wonderful, truly great man he was. Of course, here's the whales pictures, and so how? Oh, there he is. He. If people don't know him, he's a poet laureate.
Yes.
And he's had a very interesting Zen background.
Yes.
With the Zen community here. And I know there was a documentary made about him as well, and he made it. He's in rather fragile health.
Yes.
I saw him at the last year at the showing of the documentary, and he showed up, but I think he's in his 80s now.
I was reading his poetry in graduate school, so that was a long time ago.
Okay. Barry Rivers was trying to go, but he kept the timer. But he is. But what's amazing about him is how he's taken this land in haiku, and he's made it a sanctuary. He plants palm trees from all over the world, and he's taken this. I don't know how many thousands. I think he has about 1,000 trees there, right?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I actually haven't been there. I'm going to go in the next opportunity, but it's phenomenal what he's done, and the poetry that he's written for the environment. It's worthwhile to check out, and he's one of Maui's treasures.
He is, and I have to say even the ads are rather lovely. You have an interesting story here about a friend of mine, Mick.
That was fun.
We're so lucky to have Mick. Here's Mick in his
he
kitchen.
Is really a wonderful
with
person.
His lovely Chelsea, his girlfriend there. And that must have been a treat to go do an interview on that one. Did you get to go along on that one, Diane?
I did, yeah. Actually, this is the second time we've featured Mick, and I went on both interviews. But this was really fun. This is our holiday kitchen. So it wasn't really so much an interview as it was a chance to cook together. And he had his chef from Fleetwood's, who I have to say is a really good chef. Yes, Eric. I was blown away by some of the things he made. If you're going to go to Fleetwood's, get the bouillabaisse.
The bouillabaisse is amazing,
Yeah.
and absolutely amazing. And he is such a nice guy. I mean, here's some pictures.
He's he opened his home to us. We had a great time cooking together. It was a little bit of a party atmosphere. As you know, afterwards he had some of his friends there, so it was very nice.
His oysters are amazing, aren't they?
I haven't had them.
Oh, there's a dish there. But he has oysters for happy hour up there, and he has the best oysters as well.
Yeah.
And which I have to bring up then also the...
Then the rest, I actually tried some of the recipes. We made everything with the chef, but then, of course, in the magazine, you'll get the recipes for everything that was at that dinner. And one of them was the polenta with the tomato...
Like sun-dried tomato.
Sun-dried tomato topping. So and I made that for a party, and it was really good.
You actually did make it.
I actually
Well, you
made
love
it.
food. You're a foodie, aren't you? Wouldn't you
Yeah.
classify yourself as a foodie?
I guess so. I like food. I like to cook. I enjoy what other people cook.
Is this this is where you got to sit down and eat the whole meal with,
Yes,
with
yes.
Mick and Chelsea and the chef and everyone there. How
It's
nice.
tough life.
Wow. That's, there are some nice perks.
There are some really nice perks, yes.
And I like this. Here's holidays in Hawaii. And so that's always nice to have holiday issues and stuff like that. That's
there are
really
more recipes, I think.
And there was a lovely article you didn't hear about hiking Halava. I'm hoping I pronounced it right, in Molokai, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was one of our adventure stories, and each issue will have an adventure story. So that's something that anytime you open up the magazine, you'll find these adventure stories, which are usually written in first person. So you kind of get to go along with the author and experience that adventure, experience that journey. So Shannon Waneki, she also wrote this piece, and she went over to Molokai, and she had a great experience, and I think she didn't have enough room to really even talk about everything she wanted to.
I'm asking Diane to find the halava so I can show the pictures because people are liking
Yeah.
people are liking the pictures.
Here we go.
I'm not
But
doing...
I mean, I haven't ever done that hike. I love hiking, and here it is. Oh my gosh, look at that valley. Oh my gosh, it's absolutely beautiful. Hiking Halava, and there's even a trail markers and what it's like to hike there, and really how special that is, because I sometimes want an adventure. When you go to Molokai, you go, what is there to do? Because it's kind of a small island, so that was nice that you included that as well.
Yeah, so she talked about sort of her journey in the valley and the people that she met and the history. So it's not just about the activity. It's sort of giving you a little bit of background and really information so that you can appreciate the journey that you're taking. And I think that's what's really cool about a lot of the adventure stories we write.
And
we
often
don't
you
just tell
meet
you
some
how
people.
to, we don't just tell you how to get there and how to do it, but we tell you why it's so special. And I think that enriches the whole experience. So that's
If you're just tuning in, we're talking with Diane and Lehia about Maui no Kaoi magazine, 20th anniversary, and their new issue, Best of Maui. And I guess you do reach out to people. And Diane, do you find that people who have visited the island like to stay in touch and will go back home and maybe get your magazine online or order it? So and they can do that. They can have the hard copy or the online, right?
Yeah, well, we have a subscriber base, and actually we're doing a subscription drive right now. If anyone's interested, you can get 2 for 1. So you can buy yourself a subscription and give one for Christmas, or you can give us your whole Christmas list and get 2 for 1.
Yeah, and that it's a nice gift because, in fact, I like to give magazines as
It's
a
a
gift.
great gift.
I
And
do
people,
that myself.
Yeah, because then you can. I mean, I find people like special things.
Yeah.
If people like fashion, I'll get them a fashion magazine, and the idea behind that is that the gift will continue to give.
yeah, they get it 6
It's not
times a
just-
year. It comes right to their house, and it's really wonderful to receive. A lot of our clients actually will gift Maui no Kaoi to their clients. It's
So-
because it's a great way to stay in touch.
So how do people do that? How do they?
You can go to mauimagazine.net and find the subscribe button, or you can call us, which is pretty easy as well. And there's usually a subscriber card in the magazine, but the easiest way is to go to mauimagazine.net and find the subscribe button.
And like Diane said, right now we're running the Give One, Get One campaign.
Oh.
sort of two subscriptions for the price of one, and that's running through December 31st. So if anybody's sort of wondering whether they should subscribe, now would be a really good time. You really get a lot for your money.
Great
and get to
stocking
share it.
stuffer. We even send a card out that says they're getting a gift.
Yeah.
That's very nice, and I have to say I really love your issues.
Thank you.
So much so that I will sometimes just keep them here at the station, not just to steal your clients. No, no, I really don't do that. But I do like.
We feel
to keep them
secure.
here.
It's okay.
I know your people love you, and they support you, and you've
Thank
kept your
you.
clients for a long time. So I want to thank you for the beautiful work you do. Again, I know how difficult it is to keep a magazine or any kind of business going these days. So I really have to thank you for that. And I want to thank all the Facebook viewers. I'll post this so you can see it if you missed some of it. So I'm going to end the Facebook there. And, it's amazing. I do like the way things can happen with connections. Sometimes Facebook readers were reaching people all around the country,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of interesting combining the different media forms.